Good afternoon, everyone. I struggled with that song because if you know me, I'm a little bit wretched. So I had to bring it down a little bit. All right. For our keynote speaker, we have with us today Danielle Templeton, the Director of Communications for the Employee Retirement System of Georgia, for an engaging and insightful session dedicated to empowering our DJJ team with essential personal finance strategies. With over a decade of experience in financial education, Danielle has tirelessly advocated for financial literacy, specifically tailored to Georgia's diverse state employee workforce and retirees. In this dynamic hour, Danielle will dig into her top personal finance strategies, covering a range of topics including budgeting, saving for retirement, managing debt, and investing wisely. You can expect practical, actionable advice grounded in real-world experience designed to help you take immediate control of your financial future. So buckle in for this fast-paced, high-impact session filled with expertise and energy. It has the potential to transform your financial outlook and equip you with the knowledge needed to make informed decisions. Whether you're just starting your financial journey or looking to sharpen your existing skills, this session promises to provide the tools you need to succeed. Join us and take the first step towards financial empowerment by welcoming Ms. Danielle Templeton.
Did I write that introduction? Because that's a lot to live up to. My goodness. Hi, everyone. My name is Danielle. I just got back from California, and Glenn had called me, and he said, Danielle, we're doing a DJJ town hall, and I said, oh, DJJ. When he said Monday, I said, I'm just getting back from California, but for you all, I'm here, because I respect what you all do for a living, and I appreciate it, so thank you very much for having me here. I need to just thank a couple of people as some housekeeping. Of course, I want to thank Commissioner Shawanda Reynolds-Cobb for having me, Director Tanya Appeling, and Glenn Allen, of course, for having me as well. Thank you so much. With me today is also my communications specialist from ERSGA, Mrs. Jade Woods is over here with us today. All right, so we are going to talk about something that's really important, more important than me standing between you and lunch. We need to talk about your retirement, because I know that you all work really hard, and I want you to have a great retirement. So that's my passion, is to try and get through to you in this next hour, okay? Now, I need you to know what plan you're in with ERS, because we are based in law, and when you were hired depends upon what plan you're in, okay? So I did not name these plans. So the new plan is actually the middle child. New plan is Tier 2, and that's if you were hired between July 1st, 1982 and 2008. In January 2009, there was a law change, and that's when the GSEPS plan came in. I'm a GSEPS member. It's a hybrid plan. So I'm going to talk to you about that as well. This presentation is based in law, so that's why I'm here with you today in person. We do not allow distribution of this recording because we are based in law. The law does change, and we found that a lot of employees were misinformed about their pension plans because they were watching old videos. So that's why I'm here with you today. So who is ERSGA? Well, this is the slide with the most amount on it, I promise, but I want to make sure that you know who we are. But in a nutshell, we are the guardians of your pension system. Now, I always feel like I should flip a cape when I say that, especially to law enforcement people. So we administer pension benefits for all employees throughout the state of Georgia. And that also includes a 401k for GSEPs and also a 457, which is a state employee account that anyone can join as well. We also have a life insurance plan that some members are a member of. We are the Social Security Administrator for the state of Georgia. So I'm going to tell you my very highest tips on Social Security. We are overseen by a board of trustees, 2 of which are directly appointed by the governor, the sitting governor. Also, the DOAS commissioner, who's currently Rebecca Sullivan, sits on our board. Why am I telling you that? This is, besides your paycheck, your greatest employee benefit. It is looked at a very high level. We manage the investments for $19 billion. We do that with a division of investments. Division of investments are state colleagues, because we are all colleagues, even if I haven't met you yet, we're all part of the same team. Our division of investments are also state colleagues. So I love the fact that your pension, our pension, is being invested by us, other state colleagues. We have over 110,000 active employees like yourselves, and they are made up of all different types of state employees. And that's why you see so many different colors in those circles. Those are all of the different types of plans that we administer. So today we're talking about the ERS plan. It has 3 tiers in it: old plan, new plan, GSEPs. Then we have GJRS, that's for our judicial system, our judges throughout the state of Georgia. Then we have Peach State Reserves, that's the 401k, 457, which we're going to be talking about. PSERS is for our part-time school employees. That's our bus drivers, our cafeteria people. GDCP is seasonal employees throughout the state of Georgia. They have a supplemental retirement. LRS is our legislators. So every congressman, every senator, even Governor Kemp, they're all part of our plan. And then we have GMPF. I call that the Hero Circle. That is our National Guard, our Air Force, and SpaceX. Now, I should mention one thing that you don't see in these circles is TRS, the Teachers Retirement System. The Teachers Retirement System is in the same building as us. We're like siblings. But there are a lot more teachers in the state of Georgia than there are state employees. So they're actually a little bit bigger than us, but we all work together in the same building in Atlanta. So we have the different tiers of the plan for ERS. So today, we're going to do something for your future self. I realize that in state government, I look at it like a cogwheel. And whether you're in the middle of the cogwheel and you're dealing directly with the public, or maybe you support those who deal directly with the public, or maybe you're like me, and I support those who support those who support those who support those on the front lines, right? Today we're going to do something for you. And there are 4 pillars that I'm going to be covering: wisdom, justice, moderation, and courage. Pillar 1, wisdom. Who am I? Great time to introduce myself, right? Well, my name is Danielle Templeton. I am not a financial expert. I'm a communications person. I started this job almost 8 years ago, completely in debt. I know, can you believe I just said that? I wasn't living paycheck to paycheck. I was beyond that. I was robbing Peter to pay Paul. I couldn't believe when I got the job in this financial institution. I was like, are you sure you all want to hire me? But it turns out I'm pretty good at talking to people, so we'll see how that goes today. I have learned a lot. A lot. These are just some of the books that I've read. I've watched so many hours of podcasts, so many hours of videos, because I realized by working with really smart financial people that there are a lot of things that I needed to change in my life. So what I'm about to tell you are things that I've learned the hard way. I also want to mention that if you don't know where to start with money, Susie Orman is where I started. She's fantastic. Love Dave Ramsey, but I would argue with him because he says that your credit score is not important, and it is. But my new favorite is the Budgetnista, Tiffany Aleshe. We're going to be interviewing her next year. She's a New York Times bestselling author, and I found her on TikTok. AI. So last year, I attended Georgia Technology Institute. I thought maybe I might go for a PhD. 1 week of this course, and I was like, nope, I'm done with school. Very hard college. But what I did is I took a class in AI. And why am I bringing that up as part of a financial talk? Because AI is here. It's like when computers came. And if you're not already learning AI, you need to. It can help you in many, many ways in your life. It can help you financially. What I use it for, well, I use it for lots of things, but one of the things I use it for that people find very interesting is I uploaded all the ingredients in my fridge, and now I have AI make me menus and shopping lists, right? Because I was spending a lot of money on DoorDash. Now I use AI, and it tracks everything that I have in my kitchen, and it helps me make meals that I like. I'm allergic to berries. It knows that. It knows, everything I like because I tell it. Embrace AI, use AI. It's not just ChatGPT. The kids are all using it. They're experts in it. So I just want you to know you can use this for your finances. You can use it to help your life. Okay, I always say that there's 4 numbers. If you don't want to do a budget, there's 4 numbers that you need to know. Essentially, what does it cost to be you for a month? Do you know that number? What does it cost to be you? I'm not talking about your rent. I'm talking about when you put it all together. What does that number look like? You need to know what that number looks like. That's essentially your base budget. And then, of course, we have things that we like to add on, right? I get my nails done. I'm a nail biter, type A personality, right? So I get my nails done. That's in my budget. I don't feel guilty about getting my nails done because I've budgeted for it. You know, I talk about budgeting like dieting. You know, you may know that you need to go on a diet and you may need to know that you need to get healthier financially, but until something clicks in your mind, you're not quite ready yet to do that, right? Like until you see a picture of yourself and you go, oh, I don't know, I look like that. Gosh, maybe I do need to go on a diet. Well, budgeting is a lot the same. You don't want to go on a starvation diet because what happens? Somebody. You binge, yes. Well, what do you think happens when you go to a zero-based budget? You don't allow yourself to spend anything. You binge, right? The other thing that I learned is that personalities affect how you spend money. I'm ADD. I am very gregarious, right? I have an issue with dopamine. And when I go to TJ Maxx and I buy something, guess what I get? A dopamine hit. Right? So it's important to know how you are with money. What I do now is I wait 24 hours before any big purchase. And I put stuff in my shopping bag because that makes me feel good. I don't always buy it, but I get the dopamine hit from putting it in the cart, right? Savings. Do you have an emergency savings account? Most Americans do not. Most Americans rely on their credit cards for savings, but that's a really scary proposition. So we're going to talk about emergency savings and then donations. I had to add this in because Southerners are some of the most generous people I have ever met. Sometimes y'all are so generous that you're not taking care of yourselves before you're giving to other people. So you need to be careful with how much you donate. I love donating to charities, but make sure that you're taking care of your household first before you do that. And then of course we have future expenses. Start thinking ahead about our expenses instead of looking behind. So Jade helped create all these great handouts that you have in that red folder, and this is one of them. So this is a great way to keep account of all of your accounts that you have. And you can go on our website, you can print out more pages, but you should know where is your account, what's the password, and have it written down so that you can control where your money is going. We also have a monthly bill tracker so that you can track your bills that you're spending every month. And then we also have a monthly budget that you can do as well. I use an app to do my budget. Apps are great for budgets, but the main thing I want you to know is you should have some idea of how much it costs you to be you, okay? It's not about what it is, it's about what it can become. I am standing in front of you now, about 6.5 years later, and I am financially secure. I never thought I would hit that. I'm a single parent. I didn't think I'd ever get out of the paycheck to paycheck rut. Was it hard? Yes, it was. I put off buying a house. I put off getting a beautiful pair of shoes that I wanted to get, right? But I'm finally financially secure, and I can tell you that there is no better feeling than knowing that I have some money in the bank in case something should happen. So you want to find the hidden money. Once a year, you want to look at all of your accounts, right? So you want to write them down, and then once a year, I say actually call them. And I make sure that I'm getting the best deal. I ask them, are you giving a better rate to new people that you're not giving to me? I've been a good, loyal customer. You'd be really surprised at what you can find is going on with your accounts. So once a year, you want to look at all of your accounts. That includes your cable, your utilities, all of that, okay? And then insurance. We know you can bundle insurance and save money, but if you're a renter like me and you don't have renter's insurance, woo, is that dangerous. Renter's insurance is not expensive. I have Geico. I think it costs me like $150 a year. But if anything were to ever happen to the person above me, if they were to have a flood or something, my apartment complex is not going to pay me back for everything inside my apartment. So renter's insurance is really important to have as well. Now, the thing about insurance is you don't want to be overinsured because that doesn't do you any good. That just gives them extra money. But you want to make sure that you have enough insurance to cover your assets, okay? If you don't know where your money is going, it just flies away. Money's like energy. You need to track it to know where it's going. This is a daily planner that we created. Created this for myself to keep me on track. As I said, I'm ADD. But you will notice that there's a money tracker on there, so that every day if you print this out and you want to keep yourself organized, you can also keep track of where those extra little bits of money are being spent. Credit card debt. I had a lot of this. I had a decent salary, so I just kept opening up credit cards. I love to open up credit cards at stores. TJ Maxx is going to give me a 30% discount. Do you know what the interest rate is for TJ Maxx today? 36%. Do you know that they get a huge bonus every time they get someone to sign up for a credit card? Why is that? Because then they know you're going to put money on that credit card and they're going to make money from that, right? So now when I go up to TJ Maxx, because they have to ask you 3 times, I don't know if you know this, but 3 times they have to ask you to sign up for a credit card when you go there. So now I just walk up and I just say, I'm broke, I have terrible credit score, do not ask me to sign up for a credit card. But it is important that you at least pay your credit cards on time. There's no quicker way to hurt your credit than not paying on time. So set everything on auto pay for the minimum amount if you can. And then you always want to pay the minimum balance. And if you ever have a hard time with your credit card where you can't pay the minimum balance, you want to call them and talk to them. Sometimes they'll give you a little bit of leeway. Now, I decided to pay off my credit cards. I had a lot of them. I was a single parent. I used them as my emergency savings. So when I realized, oh boy, these credit cards are like an albatross around my neck, how am I going to do this? There are different ways that you can do it. Dave Ramsey says, pay off the lowest credit card first and then pay off the next highest credit card. That way you get like a quick win, and it's called the snowball effect. Susie Orman says, pay off the card with the highest interest rate. And to me, that makes a lot of sense because you're paying the most for that loan. That's right, a credit card is a loan, right? But what did I do? Because that didn't work for me. I told you, I'm really emotional. I had a Kohl's card that I opened up in college. It was my very first credit card. $3,500 on my Kohl's card. What can you buy at Kohl's for over $100? I had paid the minimum balance year after year after year in college. Now I'm a single mom and I still have this credit card? I got mad. I got mad at myself. I had that moment when you're like, all right, I got to eat healthier. I had that moment where I was like, you know what? I got to get financially healthy. Not just for me, but for my daughter, right? I realized what a dangerous situation that I was in. I started paying off those credit cards, and I paid off Kohl's first because I was mad about it. And I did little payments too. If I had an extra $20 in my checking account that month, it went to Kohl's. I paid that card off so much they told me I couldn't make any more payments in a month because I kept making all these little payments. But finally, it was paid off. Now, when I paid that card off, I chopped it up and I closed that account. Somebody tell me why that was such a dumb decision. Tell me why. Dropped my credit score like hot. It was like hot drop. Yes. Why? My longest credit card. It had been my longest credit card on my score, and I had just closed it, right? So be very careful when you pay off credit cards. You need to know that it's a game. And most people say, pay off your credit card by the due date. No. You want to pay that credit card off by the statement date. That way you don't get interest. Okay? So make the decision to pay off your credit cards. At least get out of them before retirement. There is no more amazing feeling than being out of debt. Knowing your credit score is very important. It's your strength as a lender. They looked at it when I got my apartment. I bought a car. They looked, my rate depended upon my strength of my credit. I'm finally looking at buying a house. My mortgage rate is going to depend upon my credit. So your credit rating is very important. And just like you're looking at your accounts every year, you need to look at your credit rating every year. We have the links on our website underneath useful links. And you can go to Experian, etc., and go right down. And once a year, it's totally free to look at them. And then I also want to tell you about the new Ultra FICO score. The new Ultra FICO score was supposed to come in during COVID, but then they delayed it, so it is coming. And what it's going to do is it's going to look that you're keeping a minimum balance in your checking and that you're slowly growing your savings. So right now, credit cards don't look at your checking and savings. In the future, they will. This is when I paid off my last credit card about 2 years ago. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It was hard, y'all. It was really, really hard, you know? But I did it. And then guess what happened? Well, wait, first let me tell you this. Attack your debt so your paychecks can start paying for your future instead of your past, right? So I got out of credit card debt, and then I got right back in it. Because my birthday's right by Christmas. And Christmas is my biggest hobby. I'm actually already done with my shopping for this year. Can you believe it? Yeah, I'm that kind of Christmas person. So I got right back into debt. So whether you celebrate Christmas or what holiday you celebrate, or maybe it's a vacation that you take once a year, you want to think about pre-saving for these things, and that's called a sinking savings account. That means that you put money into a savings account knowing that you're going to then use it, right? Love the Georgia Credit Union. I use that Georgia Credit Union to save money, but I don't use it for my Christmas because you don't get it till November. I'm already done. But it's a great way to save extra money as well. But when you think about the holidays, you need to think about gifts, because we all get extra generous near the holidays, right? You need to think about tips. I need to tip my manicurist. Party outfits. We all want to look nice wherever we're going. I cook. Food is very expensive to make for your families now. Travel. I go home to Pennsylvania a lot. I still do cards and postage. And then, of course, we've got birthdays and celebrations throughout the year. So think about, how much are you going to spend this holiday season? Are you going to put yourself into debt? Are you going to be miserable when those January bills come? Or are you going to somehow figure it out before Christmas starts? Student loan debt. I have 2 graduate degrees. The second one, I took out a full student loan on it because I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't financially smart, and I went to Cornell. Very big student loan following me because of that degree. Very nice degree to have, big student loan debt. Here's what I want you to know about student loan debt. It follows you forever. Can't get out of bankruptcy. I looked at declaring bankruptcy to get out of it. You can't. It follows you forever, okay? So what I want to say to you is be very careful when you are signing for student loan debt, whether you're co-signing or if someone asks you to co-sign. In fact, if anyone asks you to co-sign on any loan at all, you should be able to take the amount of money that they want you to co-sign for, put it on the floor and set it on fire. You have to never need it ever again. Because you may be able to afford now to co-sign your child's student loan while you're working. But what happens in 20 years if they default? And now you're in retirement. They're coming after you, okay? So I always tell people, you cannot take out a loan for retirement, but they can take out a loan on their own for school. So be very careful of whatever loan that you co-sign. And be very careful of student loan debt. Saving for an emergency. So as I told you, my idea of saving for an emergency was my credit cards. Single mom using credit cards for emergencies. That's just irresponsible. Because you know what happens is that your credit card company will start to realize that you're in financial trouble. They might even know before you know that you're in financial trouble, and they'll lower that limit. So you may think, oh, I got a couple grand on this credit card to fix that car or whatever needs to be fixed, but suddenly that credit card company may just take it away from you. So it's really important to have an emergency savings account. Now, how much do you need? Depends upon how nice you want to be to your future self and those who love you. We get some incredible storms here in Georgia. Maybe you live at home, maybe you're young, you don't have a mortgage. Maybe you can survive a storm with an umbrella and a pair of galoshes. I want to have a supply of food and water. I want a generator. I need a good emergency savings account. Now, the experts say you should have so many months saved up, right? And they all doubled it after COVID. So Dave Ramsey used to say 3 to 6 months, now he says 6 to 9. Susie Orman used to say 6 months, now she says a year, okay? I do not have a year's worth of emergency savings in my account. But what I can tell you is that every time I get a raise, that money, I act like I haven't gotten it. It goes into my emergency savings account. Pets. I am a huge dog fan because they saved my dog's life. University of Georgia, small animal hospital saved Pippa's life. She's had about $30,000 worth of surgeries. I have pet insurance because I got financially smart. So I only had to pay 10%. That's $3,000. I had it in my emergency savings account. You know what was really tough was sitting in UGA's vet emergency office and seeing people come in with their pets, sobbing, and not having the money to take care of their pets when they're in pain. Can you imagine that feeling? Right? Your pets need to be part of your emergency plan. So we want to have some money saved up for them too. Now, I am looking at a house, and what a lot of state enjoyees will do is they will make 2 mortgage payments a month. They make their regular mortgage payment on the 1st of the month, then they make a 1/12th payment on the 15th of the month when we get paid again. The reason why they do this is if you do that, you'll pay your mortgage off at least 5 years sooner. What a great way to go into retirement than not having a mortgage. By the way, this also works for a car. Any type of payment that you have, always make sure that there's no prepayment penalty. I have a 2024 car that I'm just about to pay off. So that's a really good feeling, because car payments are the #1 reason why people are staying in debt nowadays. Not mortgage, car payments. The average car payment in Georgia is $700. Cybersecurity. So as state employees, and I know you all know this with what you do, your personal information is really out there. Even with what I do for a living. You can find out very quickly how much money I make a year through open records requests. You can see where I've traveled because you can look at my expenses. You can figure out where my office is in Atlanta, and very quickly you can Google me and you can figure out that I live in Alpharetta, Georgia. These are all things that are out there. You can find my daughter's name. You can find out a lot about me online. And a lot of it is because of the Open Records Act. That makes us more vulnerable as state employees to cybersecurity theft. Okay? Georgia is a AAA rated state. We are very financially secure. They know that your pension is very well funded. You know what else they know? They know that not every one of you has gone on and accepted your account, created a username and password. So guess what they do? They try to go on and they try to take accounts and take control of them at ERSGA. Yeah, pretty scary, right? We have an incredible IT team. We work with the Georgia Tech to put up firewalls, but nothing can protect your account more than if you accept your account and put a username and password on it. And don't just do an easy username and password. Make it hard, right? Okay, so let's talk about passwords. So your username is actually typically another password. It's just a visible password. And the other thing I tell people is the most common username is your dog, the year, and an exclamation point. That was my password for everything. Work, home, I'm over 50, I can't remember all these passwords. So what I want you to know is that it's very important, write your passwords down, use a password manager, don't use the same password for everything, because if it gets leaked, they're gonna access all of your accounts. Also, I use sentences for passwords. So if you like to ride a bike, do I like to ride bikes, and make the E's 3s and make it hard for people to get into your accounts, okay? You want to make sure that you're secure in your Wi-Fi. You know, we all walk around with these little computers that we call cell phones, but that cell phone is more powerful than a computer was 20 years ago. Be very careful of what open Wi-Fi you allow your phone to connect to, because they can download everything on your phone if you go onto a Wi-Fi. So you don't want to go to Panera Bread and be like, let's check my retirement account. Not the right time, okay? Downloading apps. So as I mentioned, I use an app for budgeting. I love apps. But you have to be very careful when you download an app. You know that brick of text that pops up and nobody ever reads it and we just click accept because we want to get to the app part? Well, what I do is I copy and I paste that into ChatGPT. And I say, what permissions am I giving this app to? What can it access on my phone? Okay? Because you will find that there are apps that track you. I don't want to be tracked. You're going to give some apps access to your photos. Really? So be very careful of what you're giving that app permission to on your cell phone. RFID theft is getting very common nowadays. RFID is the black strip that's on the back of your credit cards, it's on the back of your driver's license, and it's also embedded in your passport. The Atlanta airport asked me to talk to you all and let you know that there is something called skimming that people can do. And they only have to be about a foot away from you, and they can take everything out of that credit card information through the air, through wireless. So you want to make sure that when you get a new wallet or a new passport holder, that in addition to having a cool logo on it, that it's RFID theft protected. And if you want to protect your information, but you don't want to buy a new wallet, you can wrap it all in aluminum foil. But I can't imagine going out to dinner and unwrapping my credit card. You can buy RFID theft sleeves through Amazon. They're really cheap as well. Your voice. My voice is really out there. I speak a lot online. I don't even know who I'm talking to when I speak. They need 30 seconds of your voice to clone your voice. 30 seconds. They need 60 seconds to clone your image on a video. So, what should you do? You need to have a password. Have a password with your family. Have a password with your coworkers. And if they can't tell you the password, then you know it's not them. And don't make it something easy like the dog name. Make it something really strange. Like my daughter and I have you could never guess this password between us, but if she ever heard that password, that it's me. So have a password with your family. Have a password at work. Now my password at work is common enough that Anyone at work could say it, and I will turn to them and start to pay attention to them like I am lined in on them, what's going on with them. So think about having that with your friends, family, and your coworkers as well. And then MFA on ERSGA login, that's multi-factor authentication. And we're going to put you through MFA the next time you log in. We're doing that for security. So it's an extra security step. No one will ever reach out to you regarding your pension except for me and Jade. That's it. ERSGA. We're the only ones that are ever going to reach out to you about your pension. If you get an email like this saying, hey, we're retirement experts, we want to talk to you about your pension, they go on through Open Records Act, they get all of your names, very easy to figure out your emails from that, and then they send you spam emails like this. So just be very aware that I'm never going to ask you for your social security number. I'm never going to ask you for your account information, okay? We're never going to do that with you. Trust Dale, a lot of you know him in the Atlanta area. He is a cybersecurity theft expert, and we did an interview with him. That's my boss with him, and I wrote this script. I wrote this script for State of Georgia employees, so it talks about how to protect yourself from theft as a State of Georgia employee. It's a great video on our YouTube page. Okay, let's talk about some really important documents. In February, somebody that I knew very well had a massive heart attack, and he passed away at age 52. He was wealthy, he had no will, he had no children, and he was not married. The extended family had to ask friends to help pay for his funeral because his checking account and savings account were locked because they didn't have beneficiaries on them. He had done no planning. What a mess. Everyone in here should have a will. You can't be too old, too young, too rich, too poor. Everyone should have a will. Everyone. I can't believe that he passed away like that. He would have been mortified if he had known that people were contributing towards his funeral that way. Wow, right? It's so important to have a will. So how do you create a will? It's actually very easy in the state of Georgia. You can write it down on anything you want, have 2 people sign it as witnesses, and then have it notarized. Do I recommend that? No. Do you need an attorney to have a will? Well, maybe. If you have a really complicated estate, you've been married 3 or 4 times, you may want to have an attorney do your will. But for me, I just did mine online. I made sure that it was Georgia compliant. I filled it out, and then I had it, 2 people sign it that I knew, and then I had it notarized, and then I filed it where I live in Fulton County. Why did I do that? Because no one can ever say that there's another will. Mine is filed with the county. It was like $40, totally worth it. I was a single mom without a will. I was a single mom who didn't have guardianship for my daughter figured out. Everyone should have a will. I gave you a red folder, and in that red folder, that's the beginning of your important papers document. You don't want to have all of your important information on your laptop because then somebody needs a password to get to it. You need to have all of your important information in one place, not at the bottom of a dirty closet, not in the back of a drawer in your desk. You need to have it where your family knows that you have it. This is where your will goes. This is where your important information goes, your birth certificate. Your ERSGA statement should go in that red folder. Why? So your beneficiaries know to call us, okay? So take that red folder, you've got a good beginning, put all of your important paperwork in there, okay? So we talked about a will. Now I want to talk about durable power of attorney. For finance, and because of my background, I'm also going to talk about healthcare, or Advanced Healthcare Directive, as some of you know it. Durable power of attorney means that you're allowing someone to act on your behalf in very specific and timeline circumstances. So I pay all of my mother's bills, have for a couple years. I move money from her savings to her checking, and then I pay her bills. I have 3 siblings. I was not protected. My mother was not protected. So I went online after somebody smart told me to do this, and I got a notary to declare that I was power of attorney for my mother for her finances. And it also protects me from my siblings because it says I can use money from her checking to pay these bills. I can't go on a trip on it. My siblings aren't going to wonder, is Danielle mishandling mom's bills? You know, everything is on the up and up. Now, if you ever need to have a power of attorney on you, this is what I want you to know. Make sure it has a timeline, that it's not extended. Think Britney Spears, unextended timeline, okay? And then you want to make sure that it's for certain circumstances. Make sure it's very specific if you need one for yourself. Advanced Healthcare Directive. Talk to your family about your wishes. I'm an organ donor. I don't want anyone to ever have to make that decision for me. I've already made it for myself. I also know that there are certain things I want or do not want towards the end of life. It's really important that you think about the care that you want, and also that you talk to your parents and your extended family about the care that they want. And you can say, Danielle told me I got to talk to you about this. It is one of the hardest but most loving conversations that you can have with a parent. Because let me tell you, I have seen siblings fight over mom or dad dying in the bed, and they can't decide what's best to do. The parent is suffering, and the siblings are fighting, and the family is being drawn apart. By the way, not having a will is a great way to tear your family apart as well. Okay? Have an advanced healthcare directive. Have a will. I did not have these things. I couldn't come out here and talk to you if I hadn't done it myself. So I had to do these things. And what I will tell you, did I want to do them? No. Do I feel better after I did it? Do I feel more at peace knowing that should anything ever happen to me, everything's okay? Yes. Yes. Take this seriously. At least have a will. If you're not, you're gambling with the decisions that someone's going to make on your behalf. I don't know about you, I want to make my own decisions. Now, I love the Georgia Lottery. I love the fact that the Georgia Lottery goes to education. And I give out a lot of scratch-off tickets. When I go out to eat, I'll leave it, if I have a good server, I'll leave the tip, and then I leave a Georgia scratch-off ticket on top. Love the fact that Georgia does that with education. What should you do if you win the lottery? Should you tell everyone? No, why not? Why not? Everybody's going to come after you for money, right? But not only that, if you win a lot of money, you want to accept it in a trust because it's better for you tax-wise. And then you can go and you can help and do everything that you want. I'm going to, help all the animal shelters in Georgia, but, accept it in a trust. But now let's talk about the opposite. Did you know that young men in college are the fastest growing gambling addicts? Isn't that crazy? They're sports betting online. Unbelievable. So I had an uncle, a great uncle, who was a gambler. He gambled away our family fortune. Actually happened in my family. He gambled it all away. Gambling can affect families for generations. And the thing about gambling is that it truly does affect the family. They gamble away college savings and all sorts of things. And the thing about gambling is that it's so incredibly addictive because you get that dopamine high, right? And gambling addicts are really ashamed to be gambling addicts. They don't want to have this happening in their family. So I know we don't talk about it a lot as a society because we find shame in talking about money and money issues. But if gambling is affecting your family in any way, there is help that you can get for it. Everyone deserves financial freedom. And that begins with financial literacy and education. Talk to the kids in your family. Talk to the younger people in your sphere of influence, your younger coworkers, and make sure that they understand money because they're not teaching this in school. I had 2 master's degrees and I was living paycheck to paycheck. That's not right. I never learned anything about this in school. Ignorance, yes, on my part, but still. So talk to the kids and help them. All right, pillar 2, justice. It's a good one for this room. I think it's only just that if you work your career with the state of Georgia, that you should get a pension. Don't you agree? You've earned it. I love this. The best math you can learn is how to calculate the future costs of your current decisions. So how much are you going to need in retirement? How much are you going to need? You're not going to need quite as much as you do now for your monthly because it's going to go down when you're in retirement, right? So how much are you going to need? If you have a mortgage, you're still going to have your mortgage and you're still going to have real estate taxes. If you rent, you're still going to have your rent. Children are very expensive. Oh my goodness, I thought the older my daughter got, the less expensive she would be. It's been the opposite. And then of course, you want to be able to eat. You want to be able to have a nice car. Healthcare is the #1 reason why people go bankrupt in retirement. You need extras for co-pays and extra things that you may want to do with healthcare. And then, of course, there's quality of life. You may want to travel and go to Paris, or maybe you want to go to the Fox Theater, or maybe you just want to spoil your grandkids. So how much are you going to need? Well, the experts say that you need a minimum replacement of 80% of your current income when you're in retirement. I studied George Foreman at Cornell. Some of you know him as a great boxer who named all of his sons after him. I think he's one of the most incredible marketing and branding gurus that ever existed. I followed him, really find him fascinating. And he said, the question isn't at what age I want to retire, it's at what income. There are three sources of retirement. It's like a three-legged stool. If you take away one of the legs, that stool gets really wobbly, okay? So the first we have is Social Security, and then we have your pension. Congratulations. Of the United States workforce has a pension. And then we have any extra savings that you may have through our Peach State Reserves or through your own personal streams of income. Let's talk about Social Security. I told you I was shocked when I went onto Social Security, and the reason why is I can't retire until I'm age 67. Currently, people are retiring at age 65. So I was like, what do you mean I can't retire until I'm age 67? So that was the first shocker for me. So currently, you can retire as early as age 62 with early retirement. However, I really want to discourage you from even thinking about ever doing that, because it takes away about a third of your Social Security income for life. Yeah. So sometimes we get very young employees with the state of Georgia, and then they're ready to retire at like my age, let's say like 53, 54, and I look at them and I say, but what are you going to do until you can start collecting Social Security at age 67? That's a 20-year gap. And remember that three-legged stool, you only have two legs of the stool. So you got to think about something to replace that income if you're going to retire very early with the state, okay? Late is 70. That means that you're waiting to collect Social Security until you're age 70. It doesn't rub out, if they will. It makes sense unless your age expectancy is over 80. So it's really up to you whether or not you wait to take it or not. The other thing that really shocked me is that the benefits are determined by your income, and it's a sliding scale. Now, you would think the more money I've made, the more I've put into Social Security, the more I'm going to get. No, it doesn't work that way. The more you make, the less of a percentage that you get. So every year when you go onto all of your accounts, you need to go onto Social Security and make sure everything's correct. The other thing you want to make sure is correct is your personal information. Is your name correct? Is your address correct? Is your employment correct? Make sure that everything is correct on your Social Security. Social Security is a great first layer, but it's not enough to support you. It's like a cake without any icing or anything nice on top. Okay, so we talked about retirement needs, security. Let's talk about benefits. I love this slide. So I'm from up north, and where I'm from, the benefits are not based in law. So guess what happens when they have issues with roads and bridges or something big happens in the state? Where do they pull from? Oh, the retirement pot. We'll just keep pulling from the retirement pot. Guess what happened in New Jersey? New Jersey retirees, right, who had already retired, older people, were nervous about not getting their pension payments because New Jersey had made such a mess of it. But here in the state of Georgia, you have a separate agency, that's us, and your money is protected by law. Now, what that means is that every single thing that we do is based in law. So we can't just change your pension plan. It has to go through law, and it's a fiscal bill, so it takes 2 years. So just know that while we represent your pension, we are not creating it. It's created in law. It's created in 1950. And your benefits are based on a formula which I'm going to explain for you, and once you vest, you are guaranteed for those benefits. So what do you contribute? Because you're contributing each and every paycheck toward your pension, okay? So for GSEPs, like myself, we're contributing 1.25% for our pension. For new plan or Tier 2 members, you're contributing an extra 0.25%, but that's because you have a benefit, a little life insurance benefit called GITLI, Group Term Life Insurance. So GSEPs, we don't have that, but new plan you do, and you pay a little bit extra for it in your paycheck. So how is your pension funded? Well, if you look at the blue slice of the pie, that's what you're contributing each and every paycheck. But look at the orange slice. Every month, your employer sends us money on your behalf for your pension. Like I said, it's a giant benefit that many of you don't even realize is occurring. And then the green part is what Division of Investment makes up through their long-term investments. Also, if you see the economy going up and down, you never have to worry about your pension investments because DIS invests for the long term. So your formula salary is your formula salary times the planned benefit factor times your years of credible service. Let's break this down. Your formula salary is the average highest 24 consecutive months anywhere within your employment, okay? So if you decide maybe you were a director and you want to step down to a supervisor as you get closer to retirement, have less stress, we're going to look at your highest salary, not the salary that's the closest to when you retire, okay? Highest 24 months. For the plan benefit factor, it's 1% for GSEPs. Remember, it is a hybrid plan. We have another part to our benefit, and then 2% for new plan. Credible service is time worked, time purchased, and forfeited leave. You will have to pay taxes on your pension because it's income. So just be aware that when you retire and you get that pension check, it's income and you will need to pay taxes on it. Credible service is measured in full months. So that's why we see people retiring at the very end of the month, because they want that full month of credible service. So very few people retire in the middle of the month. They want that full month to be in their credit. To receive pension benefits, you must be vested, which occurs with 10 years of credible service. You cannot use forfeited leave towards that 10 years. It must be full 10 years of working for the state of Georgia. Normal retirement is age 60 or 30 years of service. So if you're 50 and you have 30 years of service, you can retire with the state of Georgia. Early retirement, just like with Social Security, I do not recommend, but you can do it. It's with 25 years, but we are going to reduce it by 7% for each year less than 30 years of service or each year under the age of 60. So if you're 57, let's say, and you're going out with less than 30 years, that's a 21% reduction to your monthly payment for the rest of your life. And then law enforcement, if you're a gun-toting law enforcement, certain different types of law enforcement have different ages for retirement, and theirs is a little bit faster at 25 years. There are ways to get additional credible service back. So if you left the state of Georgia and then realized, oh, I want to go back, and you came back, you can buy that time back after 2 years. If you have time in the teacher's retirement system, we will accept that time into our system. If you have military or prior law within the past 5 years, we will accept that. And if you go out on temporary disability or leave without pay, call us, because you may want to continue paying that 1.25% because you'll continue to build credible service. So for some people, it makes a lot of sense just to pay that 1.25% and keep gaining service when you're out on disability, okay? It's always worth calling us and asking us. We will give you an estimate and we'll try and help guide you the best that we can. Airtime is just buying time at retirement. It's super expensive. Remember that pie chart? It's the blue and the orange. It's the employee and the employer plus interest. Now, for some people, it does make sense to buy some time at retirement. Just know it's very expensive to do. And then forfeited leave. Everyone loves to talk about forfeited leave, so let's talk about forfeited leave. Forfeited leave is converted into credible service at retirement. If you do not retire with the state of Georgia, you wipe out that forfeited leave, okay? Forfeited leave is unused current sick time, forfeited sick, and forfeited annual leave. It is not current annual leave because you're going to get paid out for that when you retire, okay? There is a maximum amount. It is very hard to reach. But we do see GBI and some law enforcement reach the maximum amount, and at that point your HR department can decide to grant you additional forfeited time. But just know that the maximum amount is different for everyone. It depends upon how much time you would have naturally accrued in your position, okay? So I get about 5 hours of sick and 5 hours vacation each paycheck. It would be how many times that accrued. So you can't get more forfeited leave than you would have accrued. There is a minimum, though, and it's a real strict minimum. It's 960 hours, which equals 6 months. If you have 959 hours of forfeited leave at retirement, you're not going to get credit for it. And we listen to your HR department. So you may call us and say, no, I have all of this. It followed me from another agency, but if you don't have it in writing and your HR department isn't letting us know, then it doesn't count. So if you ever change agencies, it's very important to get in writing what your forfeited leave is. Make a track for yourself, a paper track, okay? Now, some of the thing that we do see as it gets close to retirement, people stop using up their annual leave because they know they're going to get paid for it, right? So why would you use it? So they start using up their sick time. Just make sure you don't go underneath that 960. Credible service can't be used towards vesting, and as I mentioned, your HR employer certifies it. It's a policy, it's not a law. Could it go away? Absolutely. Have I heard of it going away? I have. But I've also heard of them grandfathering in all the current state employees. So forfeited leave could go away. It is a policy. So just be aware of that. And if you want to read about the policy, you can go on DUAS. As I mentioned, you can purchase dollars for airtime, and a great way to do that is to save money in Peach State Reserves through the 401k or the 457. The reason why is that when you transfer the money into ERS, it's underneath the same umbrella, so there are no taxes that are incurred. It's about a 15% savings. So if you think you want to buy back time or buy airtime, saving in Peach State Reserves is the way to go. Disability and retirement, disability and death benefits. This is not by plan, it's by law. In 2007, the law changed, and you must have 15 years of credible service and be under the age of 60 for a disability benefit. Why under the age of 60? Because if you're near 60, we're going to retire you out. It's a better benefit. Okay? Law enforcement, the gun toters, once again, they qualify much faster for disability. It is very difficult to get a disability benefit. Very difficult. We have a board of physicians that recertify you every 3 years that you're still disabled. You must not be able to do your job that you were given when you were hired without any type of accommodations. So I publicly speak. If I could sit and talk, I would not get disability. So I want you to know, just because you put an application in doesn't mean that you're going to be granted it. It's really there for our state employees who truly need it. Death in service is also based upon the disability benefit at the time of death. Again, you must have 15 years, except for certain law positions. The lifetime monthly benefit goes to the beneficiary on record. What happens if you were married when you first got hired, and then you got divorced, then you got remarried, your first wife is on your beneficiary? Who gets the benefit? The first wife gets the benefit. What about if you have a will and you say, no, I want my second wife to get the benefit? Who gets the benefit? The first wife. I'm impressed, y'all. All right. Got a nice educated group here. Then it's actuarially reduced upon the beneficiary's age. All that means is the older your beneficiary, the less they're going to get per month because the older your beneficiary is, the more they're going to get per month because we don't expect them to live as long as someone who's young. So if my mother's my beneficiary per month, she's going to get more than if my daughter was my beneficiary per month because we expect to pay her longer. Post-retirement benefit adjustments. My GSEPS people, unless you were hired in the first 6 months, we are not applicable for a COLA or a post-retirement benefit. Based in law, hope it changes. Right now, we don't qualify. For a new plan, Tier 2 members, you do qualify. But what I want to say to you is don't expect your pension to go up. Base your life on your base pension. That way, if you do get an increase in your pension, and our board takes this very seriously, if you do get an increase in your pension after retirement, it's like getting extra gravy on your mashed potatoes, and you weren't relying on it, you weren't expecting it. We did a new video series for those of you who are getting ready to retire. We love retirement where I work. So we worked very hard on this new video series, and it has everything that you would get if you came in and spoke to us in our office. They're about 3 to 5 minute videos, and they're chunked on different topics, super easy, and they also go through the application process with you. So it's a real new benefit that we just released. You can also come to our Atlanta location, and you can hear the same information that's in the videos, but in person. You're more than welcome to join us in Atlanta. We do have free parking. You can also meet with someone, either through Zoom or on the phone. We will not give you advice, but we will guide you. So if you are putting out your application and you just want someone to go over it with you, like I'm one of those people, you know, it's a really big decision, and you can't take back the decisions that you make in retirement. So it's really important that you know the decisions that you're making. So you can also have some individual counseling with us as well. You can always call us with questions. And maybe you've retired, but then you want to come back to the state as a rehired retiree. We deal with rehired retirees as well. A retired retiree can only work part-time, 6 months out of the year. And then, of course, your HR department is your greatest collaborator when you're getting ready to retire. They're our partner for you, and they're also your partner through us. So new plan, just a quick review for my new plan Tier 2 members. You've got a 2% monthly pension at retirement, which is paid for life. You will have optional forms of payment at retirement. Everybody will. All that means is all those decisions that you're going to make at retirement, those are called optional forms of payment. And then you have group term life insurance, my new plan members. This is different than the open enrollment life insurance, and I just want to give a plug out to that. We're going to be coming into open enrollment time soon, and there is a life insurance policy that's like so many times your salary. I'm not sure if you can do 1 time or 2 times your current salary without a medical exam, but if you don't have life insurance at all, this is like a no-brainer. It's super inexpensive for us as State of Georgia employees, and at least it'll give you something if you don't have any type of life insurance. But right now I'm going to talk about the group term life insurance for new plan. So while you're actively working as a new plan member, Tier 2, and you're under the age 60, your benefit is 18 times your monthly salary. As you get to age 60 or when you retire, it drops down by 30% to 70% of the original value. And the reason why that is because right now while you're working, you're paying that 0.25% each paycheck. But when you retire, you're not going to pay that anymore, but you're going to keep this life insurance benefit. Most new plan members look at this as funeral expenses. And by the way, since we're talking about funeral expenses, I already know where I'm going to be buried. My family gets buried in Sleepy Hollow, New York. Have you ever heard of that? Sleepy Hollow, the Headless Horseman? Yeah, I will be buried there someday with my family. But I've already done I did my obituary. Hopefully I'll get to add a lot of things to it. But you know something? I've done a lot of things in my life that I want to make sure that they get right in my obituary, right? A lot of time those obituaries are not written by somebody that maybe knows everything the person's done. So in that folder, you may want to have some bullets of life things that you've done that you're super proud of. Like, I'm a Gold Star Girl Scout. I'm really proud of that. I did that when I was 16, but I want that in my obituary, you know? Okay, so for my new plan members, once you retire, this stays with you. My GSEPS people like myself, we have a 1% monthly pension, but we are a hybrid plan. And the reason why the law changed in 2009 is quite honestly, they knew that they couldn't keep up with the new plan. But the other really big part of it was that state employees were not staying with the state. They were leaving fast. They were leaving before they were vesting. So we needed to create a plan that encouraged them to state, to help retain them with the state. So this plan builds the longer that your credible service occurs with the state, the more of a benefit that you receive. So previously, prior to 2002, when the law changed, GSEPS members were giving 5% and getting 3%. But overnight, the law changed, and we immediately brought everyone to be dollar for dollar. So if you're giving 5%, your employer's giving 5%. If you're giving 3%, your employer's giving 3%. You're losing 2%. Free money. Burn it on the floor. Right? So my GSEPS people, if you're not contributing that 5%, first of all, you're not going to have a comfortable retirement. You can't just live off that pension and Social Security. You need a buffer. And the best way to do that is to contribute the max so that you get the max match. Then beginning with your 6th year of service, that match starts to go up 0.5% each year. So in January, when I hit 7 years, my match will then be 6%, because I got 5.5 this year, and then my match will be 6%. So every year for the next couple of years, I get a little bump, which I really psychologically like. So as you see, you as the employee are contributing 5%, and your employer match goes up the longer that you are employed with the state. It does max out when you have been with the state for 13 years and a 9% employer match, which then gives you a 14% amount that you're putting into your 401k. That's a good amount. That's going to give you a really nice nest egg for that, to allow that to grow over time. Now, let's say you only gave 1% as someone who gave 5% and got that full increasing employer match. This person made $40,000 a year, and look at the difference at how much they'd have in retirement. So for my GSEPS people, it builds. And that also means that you vest faster in your 401k. So 10 years for your pension, but your 401k is 20% a year, you vest fully after 5 years. So if you're a state employee and you left with 3 years, 3 full years, you'd leave with 60% of your employer match. So you got to max it out, GSEPs. Okay, moderation. Let's talk about savings. We have the new plan, and that is for GSEPs. We also have the 401k and the 457, which new plan members can also contribute to. We are the plan sponsor, but I want you to know that our fees are very low. So if you have money in a previous 401k or 457 or IRA, you may want to roll it into Peach State Reserves because the fees are low because it's for state employees. Also, I want to let you know we typically put you in life cycle plans. A life cycle plan looks at how old you are and when you expect to retire, and it puts you in the proper funds. We don't want you in something too aggressive as you're getting close to retirement because you don't want your funds to go like this, right? There is a max that you can put into your 401k or 457, and that is based upon the IRS. For 2023, for 2024, it was $23,000. If you're over age 50, you can contribute more to catch up. Now, the 401k, first of all, it's very hard to take money out of it. And if you do take money out of it, you're going to get an additional 10% whomping tax hit by the IRS. So you really don't want to take money out before you're 59 and a half from a 401k. The other thing about a 401k is that you must name your spouse as the beneficiary unless they sign a waiver. Now, I'm not married, but I wouldn't be asking my spouse to sign a waiver. Be sleeping on the couch. 457, if you're a new plan, this is what I would recommend you put money in and not a 401k. The reason why is because, one, you don't have that 59 and a half age limit, and also you can designate anybody as your beneficiary. Roth. Everyone always wants to talk to me about Roth. Danielle, should I contribute Roth or not? What does Roth mean? All that Roth means is that you're going to pay the taxes up front so that money can grow tax-free. Roth is great for younger people. Now, the thing is that if you do Roth, then you don't get that money taken off your income tax. So with typical retirement savings, let's say you make $50,000 and you give let's say you give $10,000 to your retirement, your income tax is only going to be on $40,000. So if you do Roth, you do not get that benefit. Younger people don't really need that benefit. It's as you get older and getting close to retirement that you really need that benefit because you're making the most that you've ever made. So Roth is great for younger people. If you're like 30s, 40s, it's really up to you. You can look into it. All it is clicking a button on Peach State Reserves. It's that simple. This is what a page looks like on Georgia Breeze, which is where Peach State Reserves lives, which is where we go for open enrollment. Nothing scary about this page. And you also need to designate beneficiaries. So depending upon what plan you have depends upon where you need to designate a beneficiary. And I really want you to hear me out right now because I didn't do it right for the first 2 years that I worked at ERSGA, okay? I thought I named my daughter my pension beneficiary, 100%. So because I'm GSEPs, I automatically thought that meant my daughter was my beneficiary for my 401k. She's not. You have to do it in 2 separate places, okay? So my GSEPs people, you got at least 2 places. My new plan members, you also need to do a beneficiary for your group term life insurance. Okay, and it can be the executor of your will if you're going to use it for funeral purposes. And you need to go in Georgia Breeze for anything to do with 401k, 457 beneficiaries. Okay? Now there's a primary and a contingent beneficiary. A primary beneficiary will always get your benefit. The contingent beneficiary only gets your benefit if your primary beneficiary predeceases you. You can put down more than one beneficiary. You can put down beneficiaries at different amounts. So let's say you have 3 children, you love more than the rest, you give them 75% and make the other 2 split the rest. You can do that. You can name a child as a beneficiary. In the state of Georgia, they will be named a guardian, so you can also do that as well. Not able to get your pension benefit is an estate, a trust, an organization, a temple, a church, any type of organization. Because it's a lifetime benefit, if you don't leave it to someone who has a lifetime, it's going to go back to your estate, where it's just going to be that blue slice of the pie. It's going to get eaten up and not be worth very much. This is a lifetime benefit. And you see a picture of a parrot up there, because people with parrots, they have wills and guardians, and they're like super organized. It's unbelievable. You cannot leave it to a parrot. You must leave it to a person. Now, sometimes people will say to me, Danielle, I don't know who to leave my benefit to. And then I will give them my information. But seriously, this is one of your best benefits as a state of Georgia employee, and this is your money. You've earned it. This is not a gift. This is your money. This is your benefit. Make sure that you have your beneficiaries designated. And if you don't have someone in your sphere, I tell people, look around your sphere of influence. Maybe there's a young person in your church, or there's a neighbor who's really going after it and trying in life. You have the ability to affect someone's life in a positive way. Have a beneficiary. This is our website. I worked very hard to make this clean. I took out all the financial jargon. You can find lots of great information for you as a state employee on our website. So you can find little videos that we've created for you. These are about a minute each and tell you about details of the plan. We also have infographics. You can print these out on color and legal size paper and put them around your office if you'd like to, but these are also a great way to learn about your plan. Wow, I talked a lot. Are you going to have enough? Do you know what your Social Security is? My GSUBS people, are you contributing 5%? And how much extra are you going to need for a comfortable retirement? Well, a great way to know is through our annual statement. We just recreated this annual statement last year, and we wanted to make it a lot more visual for you. If you are missing something, I'm going to put it in red font in that Take Action box. So if you're missing a beneficiary, you're going to see it go in that box. We also have a timeline for you. And this is individual for you. It shows you when you started and when you're applicable for different benefits. I love this saying. It says, I'm going to retire and live off my savings. What I'm going to do the second day, I have no idea. But I also want to encourage you not just to simply retire from something. You all have very incredible jobs. The kind of jobs where your egos get wrapped up in your jobs, because they're hard jobs. I say a lot of you have a calling to DJJ. Not easy jobs that you all have. And some of you are going to have a hard time retiring because you're so used to having that at work. So find things in your life that you can retire to. Find boards. Find community things that you can give what you have to offer to the community. Wes Moss is another interview that we did for you. He did what the happiest retirees know, so we talk about state employees retiring. I also want to encourage you to get out there and enjoy Georgia. I mean, you're protecting Georgia and making it beautiful. Get out there and enjoy our state parks and what Georgia's all about. And of course, you can always connect with us. You can always call us. You can call and say, hey, I heard Danielle speak, and she said you're the guardian of my pension. I've got a question. And they'll laugh and answer your question for you. And I wish you all have a happy, happy retirement, because you're amazing. So wait, we did the 4 pillars, right? We did wisdom, everyday money decisions, justice, honoring years of service through pension. Moderation, what are we missing? We're missing courage. We are all state of Georgia employees. We all make this cogwheel go around. And I am so very proud to be a state employee and stand with all of you. And I would like to ask you all now to stand with me to say the Georgia Pledge of Allegiance. And as we say this, I want you to think about what it means to be a state of Georgia employee and what you do day in and day out and how much it means to the state of Georgia. I pledge allegiance to the Georgia flag and to the principles for which it stands: wisdom, justice, moderation, and courage. Thank you, everyone. I am Georgia proud of all of you. Thank you so much. I have some things to give out over here. Is there anyone who realized that they really need to get an emergency savings account? Here you go. Here's a weather radio for you. Is it anyone's birthday today? I got a birthday? For your birthday, I'm going to give you a fire blanket. I recommend everybody has these in their kitchens if you've never seen this, but this will help you with your candles. Happy birthday. Is there anybody retiring really soon? Come on down, I got one for you. This is what the happiest retirees know. This is a signed book. Oh, thank you. Is there anyone who was like, you know what? Oh, here, come here, ma'am. Come here. Is there anyone who was like, you know what, I need to do a budget? Yes? Come on up, you too. And then I've got 2 more signed books to give away. Is there anyone who's ever been scammed and doesn't want it to ever happen again? Oh, there we go, right there. I got 1 more book. Is there anyone who's going to change their passwords now for me? All right, here you go. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I so appreciate you.